All right, looks like we're now streaming live. All right, Kim, can I have the green light to get started?
And just, it actually says it's still processing that. So hang on 1 second.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, go ahead and get started, Bernadette.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Coalition for Property Tax Justice's Champion of the People Awards. As many of you know, the Coalition for Property Tax Justice is a coalition of about a dozen grassroots Detroit grassroots organizations who have been fighting together for property tax justice against this scourge of unconstitutional tax assessments. And the reason why we wanted to do this very important award ceremony is there are certain leaders in Detroit who have been turning a blind eye to the problem, but there are other leaders who have looked at the problem and said something must be done. And so today we want to recognize all of those leaders who refuse to turn a blind eye, who have been walking with the coalition hand in hand to do something about this radical injustice of illegal property tax assessments and the resulting tax foreclosures. So just a quick to contextualize the problem. In Detroit, 1 in 4 properties have been subject to property tax foreclosure. 1 in 4. We haven't seen this number of property tax foreclosures in American history since the Great Depression. My God. And so the real question is, why are we seeing all of these property tax foreclosures? I mean, it's not mortgage foreclosures. This is not the banks taking the home. This is the state, the government taking your home. So why are we seeing these unprecedented rates of property tax foreclosure? Well, we did a study and found out that a big reason why is because Detroit has been illegally inflating property tax assessments beyond the constitutional limit. The Michigan State Constitution, supporting legislation, and case law are all very clear. No property can be assessed at more than 50% of its market value. Because the state of Michigan has that ratio in the in the state constitution, people like me can come in and run the numbers to determine legality. And we found that anywhere between 55 and 85% of properties are being assessed in violation of the Michigan state constitution. In 2017, the city of Detroit tried to correct that problem by doing a parcel by parcel reassessment. Unfortunately, the methodology that the city of Detroit used to do that parcel by parcel reassessment was faulty. And so we have a situation where till this day, Chris Berry of the University of Chicago recently did a study that shows these unconstitutional tax assessments still continue even after the 2017 parcel by parcel reassessment. Let me say that one more time. These illegal assessments continue even today. And we have got to do something about it. I always say there's a lot of injustice in this world, but it's so infrequent when that injustice is so clearly illegal. And in this case, it's not only against the law, it's against the highest law of the state of Michigan, the Michigan State Constitution. So we at the coalition are asking, have devised 3 research-based solutions. The first is this issue of getting these, the methodology correct and getting these assessments correct really is not just a job for the city of Detroit, because the city of Detroit, Wayne County Equalization, as well as the State Tax Commission are all 3 entities in charge of producing a final assessment. So all 3 entities need to come to the table along with national experts and community stakeholders to fix the problem of illegal assessments. So we're calling on Governor Whitmer to establish a task force to investigate the issue of property tax injustice in Detroit, to come up with research-based solutions and to start thinking about how we compensate Detroiters for this injustice. Second is, you can't just have an instance of these illegal foreclosures and talk about some oops. There is no oops. We need compensation. And so we're calling on Mayor Duggan to ensure there is a plan to compensate Detroit residents who the city illegally overassessed and who experienced tax foreclosure as a result. Third and final research-based solution is, as many of you know, because of COVID-19, the tax foreclosure auction has been stopped for this year. But for next year, the auction will be reinstated. And we're saying, as long as we know that these illegal assessments continue, it is immoral to continue foreclosing on properties, especially properties worth $25,000 and under, which the research shows the vast majorities of properties in this category are being overassessed. So we're calling for no more houses going to auction, all owner-occupied homes, but if at the very least, no owner-occupied homes worth $25,000 or less should be going to the auction. These are the three research, again, there is a lot of research that went behind this, and these are the three research-based solutions that we are collectively behind and moving forward. So with no further ado, I want to introduce to you again the champions who are taking action and doing something about this injustice. Our first champion of the people is a United States Congresswoman representing the 13th District of Detroit. I want everyone to please welcome Representative Rashida Tlaib. And I must say that Representative Tlaib has been fighting with us for some time now. Before she even became a US Congresswoman, she was fighting with us when she was practicing law She was actually instrumental in doing a FOIA request that led to our most recent lawsuit. So she is not new in any way, shape, or form to this fight. With no further ado, I'll give the floor to Representative Tlaib.
Thank you so much, Professor, and thank you to all the incredible partners that we've had at all different levels of government. I do want to recognize majority of us are women. And one of the things that I think we all realize in this unique lens that we have is we have to lead with compassion and fully understand, but also, you know, injustice is injustice. And so what that FOIA that I helped file found out, as many of those in leadership said, is, hey, there's a process for you to appeal your assessment. Well, guess what? Even if folks had an assessment done as they were required to do, and that did not happen, they still were not afforded in a timely manner the notices. The notices came some as a month after, weeks after the deadline to actually appeal their assessment. So it's really important that these facts and the truth that comes out, because so many of our residents, and I know my colleagues would agree, were calling and saying they felt like something was wrong and they didn't understand. But to sit there and just leave it up to our residents in a sense that it's their job to say and ask you for their protection. I mean, these are things that are already in law that you're supposed to enforce and you're supposed to implement, which is to giving people due process to be able to appeal their assessments, but also the actual assessments to be done. More of our neighbors lost their home because of tax foreclosure than anywhere in the nation. I mean, if you look at so many of our neighborhoods that still haven't really truly come back, and now with this pandemic, I'm so worried, are they ever going to be able to? And so absolutely these requests for Governor Whitmer establishing a task force to investigate and I think really document the injustice here. The FOIA spells it out and shows the direct harm that was caused by denying, again, people notice and due process. Mayor Duggan must establish a plan to compensate Detroit residents for the illegal property tax bills and foreclosure. And then Wayne County Treasurer Sabri must stop foreclosures on all owner-occupied homes, or very least all the homes valued at $25,000 or less. These are reasonable requests. As public servants, we all take an oath to protect our folks. We take an oath to uphold the United States Constitution. Well, I take one of the United States Constitution. Many of the folks that make these decisions are taking the oath that within that is to uphold the state constitution, and within that, to uphold the city charter, all of which are saying to you that our residents were supposed to get their homes assessed, that our residents were supposed to be able to be afforded a process that allowed them to appeal their assessment. There's real harm to this, and the professor knows this. We've had a number of people testify losing their home for so little, homes that have been in their family for generations. And majority of these homeowners are African Americans. And again, with what's happening in our country, so many are focusing on who killed George Floyd, which is exactly, it's very important to look at police brutality and those reforms that are needed, if that's even possible. But it's also what systems were set up against our Black neighbors that led to so much police brutality in this culture that it's okay of what happened, and all of those systems that are broken. People access to home ownership, access to homes, and access to these kinds of processes are part of systems that have been broken and set up against so many of our folks. This is an 85% Black city, and we need to do better and more in regards to protecting our most vulnerable. And so with that, I really want to thank so many of those that continue to push back, even when folks in leadership said, you know, there's nothing they can do. That's absolutely not true. I watch people, especially corporations, not get their water shut off, like Pepsi and Coca-Cola and others. I see folks that owe large tax bills. I saw Joe Louis Arena had a huge tax bill, didn't get foreclosed, you know, didn't get that company that leased out from the city, didn't get any kind of any kind of enforcement. But our residents, no fault of their own, right, Professor? No fault of their own, didn't get their homes assessed as required by the charter and the Constitution, and did not get didn't get notice. They got the notices of appeal to us, or their assessments after the deadline to be able to appeal. And so all of that alone, I think any other city would have moved quickly in saying, we're sorry, let's adjust this. Let's make sure that we make you whole again. And so thank you all so much. And I really appreciate, again, my colleagues who really have had the courage to stand up and say, we can't let this injustice continue.
Thank you so much, Representative Tlaib. Thank you so much. All right, next up, we have our next champion is the Michigan State Senator in District 1 and the Senate Democratic Floor Leader. Please welcome Michigan Senator Stephanie Chang, who has been really instrumental in our call to get this task force started. She's the one that already kind of brokered the meeting with the Lieutenant Governor. And we just think, we're just super thankful. With no further ado, Senator Chang.
Thank you so much, Professor, and it's really great to be here, and I appreciate all of the work that you're doing. You know, I think that to echo our Congresswoman, just the amount of courage, but really the hard work and dedication that you all have shown in this really challenging but so important effort. So I'm just really proud to be here and and I'm just grateful to have this recognition. I do think that, you know, again, for us as lawmakers, as elected officials, oftentimes it's also not just policymaking, but standing up, speaking out, and also convening. So really was happy to connect you all directly for a meeting with the Lieutenant Governor. And we'll be following up to ensure that we get the ball rolling on that task force. I did want to, just while I have the floor, if it's okay, just mention one other sort of very related issue is that related. So at the state level, one of the things that we are working on, and I should note that I think that this issue of assessments is actually one where we see some Republican lawmakers in other parts of the state actually also very concerned. And apparently there's some overassessment issues in Oakland County as well. Might not be to the same degree and to the same severity, but there's definitely some interest from some of my Republican colleagues. So I'm excited about that. But one thing I did want to mention was that, you know, you all had, and Congresswoman Tlaib had mentioned, you know, not being given notice or not having the proper process in place for people to appeal. Well, one of the things that's also really important is that, you know, with the poverty exemption, sometimes people don't know how to apply, or it's very complicated. One of the things that I'm working on with a number of incredible leaders is the idea that if you qualify for this poverty exemption, and you're a senior and you're low income and you're on a fixed income and your income isn't changing year to year, or if you're a person with a permanent physical disability, and again, that situation is not changing and you already qualify for that poverty exemption, you were granted it, you shouldn't have to apply every single year, right? And so that is another piece of this, is actually cutting through the process and making sure it's easy for people. And also, you know, I mean, it's obviously will be fairer for the individuals who qualify for that poverty exemption, so that they will, so that they can just continue having that exemption without having to go through the burden of applying multiple times. But also, in theory, that should also ease a little bit of the work of our folks at city government, right? So we're working on that legislation, garnering some bipartisan support, and eager to get that introduced, but really just want to stand with you all today, and grateful for all of your incredible work, and looking forward to next steps and continuing to be a partner.
Thank you, Senator Chang. Our next champion is a Michigan State Representative for District 5. Please welcome Representative Cynthia Johnson. Now, Representative Johnson, we recently met, we were doing education to all the various state representatives. As soon as Representative Johnson heard the data, she was like, stop the presses, I am all in. We have never seen that level of commitment, and she was just, you know, just unequivocal in her support once she heard the data. And this is the kind of leadership we need. And so today we are giving Representative Johnson a Champion of the People Award. Go ahead, Representative Johnson.
Wow, thank you so much, Professor. And I just want to say thank you to all of my colleagues, all of us who are listening, learning, and I'm learning a lot. But I want to say thank you to this coalition, because you guys are doing, and women are doing, an awesome, awesome job. So thank you. I remember back in it was either 2012 or 13, when 5 banks were sued because they were misusing the people with regard to loans. And I can't think of the name. I know that the government, the federal government, during the Obama administration had sued these 5 banks, Chase Bank being one of them. And our country received over $26 billion to make sure to keep people in their homes. Did you hear me? 25 or $26 billion. And we got a portion of that money. And it was supposed to make sure that people were left intact in their homes. But there are many people who left the city of Detroit. They didn't know what else to do when their houses were foreclosed on. Foreclosed on by way of taxes. They did not know what to do. So they left. They fled. Only for us to find out really that we have been overassessed for more than 20 years. So yes, I'm on board to do whatever I can to help make sure that our governor knows, our mayor knows, that the people in the city of Detroit have been disenfranchised. And I'm so glad, Professor, that you and your staff and team have brought this to the forefront. This is more than needed. It has been needed for a long time to inform the people, but not just to inform the people, not just to talk about it, but to be about it. We have a lot of, and I was thinking about this today, there are a lot of numbers, big numbers being thrown at us. 250 billion, 250 million. All this money, the numbers being thrown up at us, but really, how much of it do the citizens really receive? And I have come to the conclusion that we can't figure out dollars and cents because so much of it's been thrown about. Nobody in the city of Detroit, furthermore, nobody in the country should have to worry about homelessness, being kicked out of their homes, homes being grabbed and taken from the residents. And that's what's going on right now. And I'm so glad to be here with you because we're going to put a stop to it. Enough. Enough is enough. To all people who can do something and are not doing anything, shame on you. And we're going to make sure that you do not stay in office. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful acknowledgement.
Thank you, Representative Johnson, for those powerful words. Yes, enough. That's exactly right, enough. Our next champion represents Detroit's District 5 and serves as the President Pro Tempore of Detroit City Council. Please welcome Councilmember Mary Sheffield, who has literally been walking with the coalition hand in hand since day one. She is an extraordinary individual who has poured her heart and soul into this issue and has shown just tremendous leadership. So
Thank you. Thank you, Detroit's professor. Thank you, Professor Bernadette, and to the coalition and all of my colleagues that are on today. I appreciate this honor, I truly do. But I want to just start off by saying, and I think it was mentioned earlier, that I don't even think we would be here as relates to really uncovering the injustice that we see with property taxes if it was not for the work of your coalition. And when you brought me in, yes, let's do a little virtual clap for the coalition. Because when we talk about the data, you can't deny the data. You cannot deny the research that this coalition has took the time to really put into, to really reveal the injustices that we see as it relates to overassessment. And so when Professor Bernadette brought me in, she provided me the information and the research. There was just no room for me not to even want to step up and be an advocate for an issue that is impacting so many Detroiters. And so it has just been an honor and a privilege to work alongside the coalition. You know, the work that they do is just so important. I believe that, you know, what we're seeing today as relates to some of the proposals that the administration is putting forward is coming from the work that this coalition did, right? And so I just want to say I stand with you all on all that you all are trying to put forward. I did want to mention that recently, and I'm not sure, Bernadette, if you know this, City Council passed a resolution that urges the State Tax Commission to reevaluate their methodology on how they are assessing residents in the city of Detroit so that we can get over that issue of the lowest value home still being overassessed. I sponsored that resolution that was based on the coalition's work that shows that the lowest value homes are still being overassessed. So that resolution was passed, and Senator Chang, we're going to need your help in the State House to get some movement on that. And then also the administration is bringing forward another resolution that gives preference in various city programs to Detroiters who were overassessed. I think it's from 2015 to 2017. So they get 50% off discounted land bank homes, 50% off side lots. They get preference in the home repair program, preference with various city programs. That proposal was based on the work and the research and the recommendations of this coalition. So I just wanted to say, Bernadette, again, to you and all of the people who take the time every day to fight on behalf of those who need a voice. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for allowing me to work alongside you all every single day. We have a lot of work to do. When I get calls from residents who say, hey, I'm a little behind on my taxes, but I have proof I was overassessed, you know, we have to figure out how we can help these individuals. And I do not believe that, as Bernadette says, oops, I made a mistake, the money is gone, is the answer. We're spending $250 million on blight removal. We can find some money to help people who are overassessed. And it's going to take each and every one of us to have the courage to stand up, to fight. And I think that we can and we will get it done. So thank you for the honor, Bernadette, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you as we move these recommendations forward.
Thank you so much, Pro Tem Sheffield. Our next champion represents District 6 on Detroit City Council, and she made history as the first Latina to be elected to Detroit City Council. Please welcome Council Member Raquel Castañeda-López, who I always said, listen, Council Member Castañeda-López does not negotiate her values, okay? She is one of the most righteous politicians I have come across, and she has been such a reliable ally to the Coalition for Property Tax Justice. So with no further ado, Representative Castañeda-López.
Bernadette, I am not seeing our councilwoman, so I would move to the next.
Wonderful. All right, no problem. Is Ms. Kendall Walker on?
Ms. Kendall Walker, can you please start your video and unmute yourself?
Is she here?
Yes.
All right, our next champion is a candidate running for Wayne County Treasurer, which is an important position in local government because the county treasurer has the power to halt foreclosures on homes harmed by illegal property taxes. And as soon as candidate Beverly Kendall Walker saw the data, she was clear that the proper role of the Wayne County treasurer is to withhold homes, owner-occupied homes from the auction because the majority of them have been overassessed. And so we look forward, and so we just are super excited to give her this Champion of the People Award. Go ahead, Ms. Kendall Walker.
Ms. Kendall Walker, are you there? Can you hear us? Ms. Kendall Walker, can you please speak?
Something's happening with her video, I can see. So let's move on to the next one. I think she's having video. I can see her there, but her video and sound aren't coming through.
Okay.
Our next champion is a candidate running for the Michigan House of Representatives in District 9. Roslyn Ogburn has been with the coalition literally as a member of Detroit Action since the beginning. And if you know Roslyn, you also know her mother because those two sisters fight together and have been fighting on this issue for some time now. So we are super excited again to give Roslyn this award. Go ahead, Roslyn, unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, guys. This was a surprise. I thought I was just joining you guys and listening and jumping on board with everyone. We just got off the turf. You know, we've been consistently moving towards to make sure the residents were aware of what was going on towards the overassessments and stopping the foreclosures of occupied homes specifically, and making sure we make Black families maintain their housing stock. So literally, the first time I met Bernadette, moving towards this fight, realizing that, like she said, this was just an assignment that she specifically got aggressively to identify. This was not just an anomaly. This was an attack on low-income and Black families in our community. And I just appreciate the coalition moving together progressively and literally making sure regular residents were at the table to solve these problems. So I say thank you for this opportunity. Like I say, I just thought I was just joining the conversation. So thank you, guys.
We love you. Our final champion.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Our final champion is a candidate running for the Michigan House of Representatives in District 4. Ms. Tonya Myers-Phillips has been, again, working with the coalition for years now, since the beginning. And so we are excited to give her a Champion of the People Award. Go ahead, Tonya.
Thank you so much, Professor. It is an honor and a privilege to receive this award and just be amongst these warriors here in the Zoom room and online watching. I will always stand committed to the people of Detroit. This overtaxation issue, this overassessment issue is wrong. The research proves it, and we have to continue fighting. And I will continue fighting. I've fought as an attorney in the courtroom, as an advocate, and you can count on me to continue this advocacy and the list of very reasonable demands that have been put forth by this coalition. We should have more people at this table. I'm honored to be at the table, but there should be more. We cannot tell these thousands of families, too bad, you know, it was just overlooked. You know, I'm a daughter of Detroit, and remember, and many of us have lived through this crisis and saw so many people lose their homes, so many families broken up, so many neighborhoods go into deterioration by no fault of their own. It's a systemic injustice, and it is our duty and burden as public servants and as advocates to do something about it, not just sweep it under the rug. So I am here for the fight, for the long-term struggle to obtain justice for homeowners in Detroit and homeowners across the state, you know, who have been illegally assessed. So thank you again. Thank you to all the recipients, all the advocates. It's an honor and a privilege to stand together. So let's stick with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tonya Phillips. All right, now in closing, I want to welcome Mark Crain, who's the Executive Director of Dream Detroit and a longstanding member of the Coalition for Property Tax Justice. But before he delivers the closing remarks, I just want to make two observations. Number one is, I hope it was not lost. Every single, was I muted? Someone accidentally muted me. All right. Every single person who received the award is a woman. All right. Now, and that is because Detroit is blessed with just a cadre of warrior women that are stepping up and fighting for justice. It is a beautiful sight to behold. The second comment I want to make before I turn it over to Mark Crain is that I need everybody to realize that these illegal assessments are the latest chapter in a series of events that have caused the dispossession of African Americans, not only in Detroit, but other urban areas. It starts with racial zoning. It includes racially restrictive covenants, urban renewal, redlining, block busting, predatory mortgage lending. And until we say enough is enough, it will continue. This will just be another chapter in this longer history. And so to ensure that this stops and stops now, that's why compensation is so important. Because the moment people have to account for what they did is the moment injustice stops. And so again, compensation is important for lots of reasons, for healing, for recognition, but it's also important so for us to put this injustice in its historical context. Compensation is so important for this injustice to stop. And we are saying Black Lives Matter, and we are also saying Black homes matter. And we have got to stop this massive dispossession of Black homes. So I'll hand it over to Mark Crain for our closing remarks.
Bernadette, I think
Raquel did join, so Councilmember Castañeda-López is on, so I just didn't know if you noticed that she had joined.
Oh, she did.
Hi.
Wonderful.
I'm so sorry. We literally wrapped up our final council session before recess like maybe 5 minutes ago. So I'm so sorry. I don't know if Pro Tem Sheffield's on or not.
No worries. So I will let you give your, so we were saying that, you know, you have been fighting for us from the beginning. You've been such a reliable ally. And so we are super honored to give you this award. So if you want to make some comments before we head to Mark for the closing remarks.
Sure. I just want to say thank you to all of you. I love the hashtag Detroit Squad. I confess I didn't think of that. But no, I mean, you all have been doing tremendous work, which I think is like founded in research, which is really key because a lot of times when there's movements like this, you know, government or the powers that be try to dismiss them and say, you know, it's not founded on fact and reality. But I think you all have done a tremendous job at building the research, at telling the stories and keeping the conversation going. So no one can forget or say they didn't know or drop it off the table. So I think you all have done a great job. I'm super excited to hear about the creation of the state tax commission. Hopefully that's going to be in the works. And I'm not sure if Pro Tem Sheffield's on or not, but just want to give her a shout out that she led the way in introducing a resolution that we just passed a couple minutes ago related to redefining the affordability based on the city's AMI and not the county AMI, where it's permissible, where we can do that, because I think that's really key, maybe not directly tied to the overassessment piece, but tied to affordability and tied to Detroiters to stay in and keep their homes and live in affordable places. So I think it's all continue to fight for, but just want to thank you all for the work that you've done on foreclosure prevention, from, you know, the grassroots folks that are, you know, going house to house to let people know about their options with HP TAP, to the larger policy pieces that are being pushed forward. So I want to thank you for letting me a part of this, and shout out to you all for doing all the amazing work that you've done.
Thank you so much, Representative Castañeda-López. Thank you for all you do. All right, let's, Mark, you can close us out here.
Yeah, thank you, Bernadette, and thank you everyone for being here with us today. Thank you to the audience on Facebook and to members of the press who hopefully see the necessity to continue covering this issue and shedding more light on it as we continue to just be reinforced about what a travesty this whole issue has been. So again, you know, our research-based solutions here are really straightforward. One, the state task force that brings together all the various entities that have a hand in solving this issue. Two, to compensate the residents who were abused. I think Congresswoman Tlaib used that term earlier. This was tax abuse. This was homeowner abuse. And three, to halt the foreclosure and the auction of homes that are lowest valued in the city. Really to halt the auction entirely until the problem is fixed, but particularly for those lowest valued homes. And so, you know, we're very grateful again to all of the awardees, Congresswoman Tlaib, for reminding us that, you know, we have a habit of treating companies more humanely than we treat people. And when it comes to the way we operate our government and our city, and we need to turn that around. State Senator Stephanie Chang for working both sides of the aisle to find bipartisan support to solve this issue at the state level. State Rep Cynthia Johnson for reminding us that enough is enough, and we have reason to see this as a shameful issue and to be outraged about it. Council President Pro Tem for helping us actualize the recommendations of the coalition and the organizations through resolutions and ordinances. And Council Member Castañeda-López for reminding us that these are research-based solutions. These are based on fact and data, and the data is clear and it tells a compelling story. As well as our candidates for reminding us that not only do we need the research, but we need the solutions that come from the people who were most impacted by this. So we appreciate Roslyn for sharing that, and to the other candidates, Ms. Kendall Walker and Ms. Myers-Phillips as well. So again, we're grateful. Congratulations to you all. Thank you for being champions of this work. I just want to close by saying, you know, Bernadette called Dream a longtime member of the coalition. We got involved because I felt like Bernadette was so clear in sharing the moral imperative behind this work. Because frankly, it is immoral to overtax Detroiters in the way that it's been happening for the last 12 years. Because it is immoral to say that we can fund a stadium downtown, but we can't find money to compensate people, right? It is immoral to say that we care more about knocking down houses than saving family homes, right? These are moral issues, and this coalition has proposed solutions while also exemplifying solutions. Like the Dignity Housing Restoration Program. So, you know, we can't go back, and Bernadette covered some of the incredible history of housing injustice that riddles our city and cities like it all over the country. We know we can't go back. But in our tradition, we have a saying that says, even if we knew the world was gonna end tomorrow, we still plant our tree. And so we're still here planting this tree and watering it in the name of justice for everyday Detroiters who were abused by this system. And so thank you all again for joining us. And we hope to be in touch with you from the coalition soon about more actions that you can take to help us win. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So now we'll open it up to the press. If there's any questions from the press for any of the speakers, we'll open up a Q&A.
Well, I just want to say, Mark Crain, all those words that you used, all those words that you said, everything that we heard out of your mouth really encapsulated everything that I believe our team, this team, is working on. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much.
They were powerful words, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, if we don't have any questions from members of the press, and if members of
Hang on, Ellen, did you just unmute?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yes, sorry, this is Ellen. I'm so sorry. I had a phone call, so I stepped away from my computer for a moment.
All right, so if any questions, please contact Charlie, who was on the press release, if the press has any further questions. But thank you all for coming, and so I'll call this officially over. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you to our champions.
Thank you all.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you
incredible
all.
work.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
for all that
you.
you're doing. Thank you. For the message.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.